When we first noticed the van, we thought that it was some type of contractor, electrician, maybe a plumber. Didn't pay too much attention to it. Then we thought maybe it was a drug dealer because it had Florida license plates. All we know is that it was always out there, day and night, engine usually running. Man is on the phone, always looking at the front door. After a while, it got to be an annoyance. Finally, around Thanksgiving, my wife went down and stared the driver down for about half an hour, and he left. About 2 days later, we didn't notice the van, but we noticed there was a problem with our phones. Well, we called the phone company, and they sent a technician out, and he told us that we were being tapped. In fact, it was around this time that I was being followed to work, being followed to the bank, followed to the grocery store by this driver of the void van. This is very disturbing. By that time, we were receiving information, classified information, from government operations connected with the scientist Dan Burisch. After a while, we got a little paranoid because the information indicated that something big was coming down the pike. I started receiving letters, emails, and a videotape of this Dr. Burisch. And it clearly indicated that this scientist was in lockdown mode, and that his jailers and bodyguards were not allowing him to communicate with the public. He has been working on bioweapons and biowarfare projects, and he had been working with an alien. Eventually, we decided that we couldn't put up with this anymore. Coupled with the information that I was receiving that there was this big event coming down the pike in early 2003, we decided that we would leave the country. We would move to Canada. We found a property up there. I went up and took a look at it. Everything checked out, talked with the lawyers, met with the bankers, came back to Washington, and we made our plan to leave. We put our house up for sale, made the arrangements. I contacted the embassy. I asked them what we needed to cross the border. They said, just bring your paperwork showing that you're purchasing a property. I said, thank you very much. We were allowed to stay in Canada as refugees pending the outcome of a judicial hearing. When we finally got to the judicial hearing, the Immigration and Refugee Board member presiding, in effect the judge of that proceeding, told us that if we were able to prove the existence of Majestic 12 and consequently the projects that Dr. Burisch was working on, they would allow us to stay in Canada. Fortunately, this operations director was able to negotiate with us on behalf of Majestic 12, and between us, we hammered out what became known as the affidavit. The affidavit, as attested to by Dr. Burisch and provided to me for use by the Canadian authorities in determining the legitimacy of our claim, admits that the U.S. government, through the agency of Majestic 12 and its control of all other federal agencies, does conduct surveillance on American citizens. It does harass American citizens, citizens that receive classified information that, if known to the general public, would produce panic. It does admit to the fact that Dr. Burisch has taken part in many projects that, if known to the general public, would produce panic in the general population. It does admit that Dr. Burisch had worked with an extraterrestrial from the Zeta Reticuli star system known as a J-Rod. And it does attest to the fact that individuals such as Dr. Burisch, who, if caught providing information to average U.S. citizens such as myself and my family, could be killed, terminated, with extreme prejudice. All of these facts were admitted in the affidavit, which Dr. Burisch provided for us in early April of 2005.